Good morning, friends. Again, I welcome you back on this class of video lecture. And today, again, we are doing Eliza written in a country churchyard for last couple of days. And today, we do the very first stanza of the poem that is very appealing as far as the selection of the words are concerned, as far as the scenery of the setting of the poem is concerned. With this natural scenario, we keep on moving to some of the pathetic scenes depicted by the poet. So these are the very opening lines of the poem. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The lowing herd wend slowly over the lea. The ploughman homeward plods his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. So, friends, there are some of the unfamiliar words which you need to get their meaning in this stanza. So, the first word of the stanza, the curfew. Here, curfew refers to the church, related to some of the activities of the church. Or this you can also take one another interpretation. The curfew in medieval regulation for extinction of fire at a fixed hour in the evening. It was introduced by William the Conqueror. Then the houses were built up of timber and fires had to be put out as a matter of precaution. So the curfew is the time of extincting the fire at a fixed time. The lowing herd means the crying animals, right? Lee here relates to meaning is of Lee is open ground, grassland. Plod his weary way. It is an example of transferred epithet. It is not the way that is weary, but farmer after days hard labor. So the tired farmers, the tired people returning from their day long labor, right? So there are some of the uh, unfamiliar words which you need to get know. The very first meaning, the curfew tolls. This is the time when the fire is to be put out, right? All the activities are supposed to get stopped since it is the time of evening. So I read first of all the stanza. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. These are the opening lines of Gray's famous poem entitled Alice Written in a Country Churchyard. The stanza describes the setting of the poem. It is evening time. The curfew bell rings, which marks the end of the day. Gray beautifully describes the coming of the evening and the rural atmosphere of this time. The curfew bell rings. This is, in fact, the curfew here refers to the curfew bell, the church bell. Ring and marks the end of the day. When there is a sound of the bell from the walls of the church, has been an indication that the day is coming to an end and all the activities are now, it is understood that they should get stopped. Medieval regulation required the extinction of fire. It was related to the cultural practice which was popular at the time, and it was a medieval regulation. It was a sort of social prohibition that it required the extinction of fire at a fixed hour in the evening. This was indicated by the curfew bell. And what other activities happening here which we have to keep in our mind? The cattle slowly return from the pasture grounds. The cattle returning back from the lea, from the pasture, from the grasslands, and the farmers are also accompanying them because they went to such grounds to graze the cattle. The farmer, after working in the field for the whole day from morning to evening, gets fatigued because and since they have been engaged in day long labor, so they are now tired. So fatigued farmers are coming back. He walks back laboriously towards his home. The whole landscape is enveloped in darkness. The poet is the only person left in the darkness of village churchyard and leaves the world to darkness and to me. This is the last line of the first stanza. So, friends, you keep this stanza for the purpose of quotation. You may quote this stanza in examination in for the context of comparison. Now we move on to the next stanza. Now fades the glimmering landscape on the sight, and all the air a solemn stillness holds, save where the beetle wails his droning flight, and drowsy tinklings lull the distant folds. These lines occur in Gray's poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard. The evening is becoming darker. This is the time of twilight. The evening becomes darker and darker. That's why the very first line of the second stanza now fades the glimmering landscape on the sight. The evening is becoming darker. As a result, the natural scenery is less visible now since it is the time of twilight. There is less sunlight, so we cannot view many things. The poet says that the shades of darkness are gradually descending upon the earth. The shades of darkness. The earth is having the shades of darkness. The darkness is spreading all over. In the evening twilight gradually goes and darkness covers the calm atmosphere. This calm atmosphere is only disturbed sometimes by buzzing of the flying beetles and the jingling sounds made by the small bells attached to the neck of the cattle when they move their necks in drowsiness. This is a sort of picturization of one particular scene from where a superb or a very typical sound is coming. This sound is the jingling sound made by the small bells attached to the neck of the kettles. And when does this sound come? This sound comes when they move their necks in drowsiness. These kettles are having a bell neck attached to their neck, and when in drowsiness they are sleeping, they have some sort of drowsiness, and when they sleep there and when they move their neck, there comes a particular sound. So this is the line which you can relate like this, and drowsy tinklings lull the distant folds, right? So this is the sound made by the small bells attached to the neck of the cattle when they move their necks in drowsiness in their enclosure at some distance. So again, we move on to the next stanza. Save that from yonder ivy mantled tower, the moping owls does to the moon complain, of such as wandering nearer secret bower, molest her ancient solitary reel. These lines are from Thomas Gray's famous poem Elegy written in a country churchyard. The stanza further describes the setting of the poem. It is evening time, it is all quiet. only the buzzing sound of the beetle and the drowsy tinkling of the kettle is heard. Now, there are some more sounds. Students, in the first two, three stanzas, you can make this point clear that the poet describes about some of the sounds, and these are the sounds which are disturbing the entire atmosphere. Otherwise, the atmosphere is silent, is quiet, is still. There are no certain activities. Now, what is another sound which we could hear? The peace of the atmosphere is again disturbed by the hooting of the owl. The owl complains, and in what manner the owl uh, hoots, and what is the meaning of this hooting? This is all poetical imagination. The owl complains to the moon about the persons who are wandering about and disturbing her loneliness. The owl is gloomy and sullen. She sits in a quiet manner on the church of stock porches covered with ivy, which is an evergreen creeper. When she is disturbed to live in her only lonely place, she complains to the moon because it has been her privilege and pride to live in solitary places since the ancient times in every country. The old doesn't want any disturbance. So these are the three stanzas which we have done today. So thank you, friend.